We have been sold a lie about success. If you walk into any bookstore or scroll through social media, the advice is almost always the same. From self-help bestsellers to productivity gurus, they all chant the same mantra: consistency is key. They tell us that real growth is a slow, steady climb. They say, just do a little bit every day. Read 10 pages, practice for 20 minutes, aim to get just 1% better daily. The promise is that if you just keep showing up, the compound interest of effort will eventually lead you to mastery. It sounds logical, it sounds safe, but if you look at the biographies of the most brilliant minds in history, and if you actually examine the latest findings in neuroscience, you will uncover a very different truth. Real growth does not happen in a straight line. It happens in bursts. If you have been grinding every single day, doing your daily habits, but you feel like you are hitting a plateau, I have good news for you. You aren't broken. You aren't lazy. You have simply fallen into the trap of consistency without intensity. Today, we are going to explore why your brain actually needs sprints, not just routines, to evolve. Section 1. The floor versus the ceiling. To understand why slow and steady often fails, we have to distinguish between two very different types of progress: maintenance and transformation. Think of your skills like a house. Routines are powerful, but they serve a specific purpose. Routines build the floor. A daily routine reduces friction. It keeps you from falling backward into bad habits. It ensures that on days when your motivation is at zero, you still show up and do the bare minimum. This is valuable, but here's the problem. Routines rarely force the brain to adapt. They just keep the engine running. Sprints, on the other hand, build the ceiling. Sprints are what actually raise your cognitive capacity. If you only have a routine, you are maintaining your current level. You are polishing the car, but you aren't upgrading the horsepower of the engine. To transform, to actually rewire the physical structure of your brain, you need compression. You need a short window of extreme focus and pressure. Let's look at a real-world example. Language learning. Most people try to stay consistent. They open Duolingo for 10 minutes every day while waiting for the bus. It's low pressure, it's mostly passive, and it feels safe. The result? They stay stuck at a beginner level for years. They never break through. Now compare that to someone who learns fast. They don't do 10 minutes a day for a year. They enter a language sprint. For 2 weeks, they speak daily. They force output. They make embarrassing mistakes. They undergo a high cognitive load that feels exhausting. And then they pause. Suddenly, their fluency jumps. They didn't take the stairs. They took the elevator. So why does the sprint and pause method work better than the slow and steady method? It comes down to simple biology, neuroplasticity. Your brain is designed to be efficient. It does not want to change unless it absolutely has to. If you are comfortable, your brain assumes that your current neural pathways are sufficient. It sees no reason to burn energy building new ones. To trigger growth, you must stress the system. This process happens in 2 steps. Step 1 is the signal. When you focus intensely on a single problem or skill during a sprint, your brain enters a temporary neural instability. This is a biological signal. You are effectively shouting at your brain, the old pathways are not enough to handle this new pressure. We need an upgrade. This is why the frustration you feel when learning something hard is actually good. That discomfort isn't failure, it's the signal for adaptation. Step 2 is the rewiring. And this is the part most people get wrong. Actual learning does not happen while you are working. It happens afterward. The rewiring of neural connections occurs during rest. It happens during sleep and during low stimulation moments like walking or staring at a wall. If you skip the rest and just keep grinding every day in the name of consistency, you don't get growth, you get burnout. This explains the working habits of history's greatest minds. Take Albert Einstein. He wouldn't just work 9 to 5. He would obsess over a physics problem for days, lost in deep thought. And then he would go for long walks where he did nothing productive. Look at Charles Darwin. He worked in focused, intense 90-minute blocks followed by long walks to let ideas connect. Look at Michael Jordan. He didn't improve by playing casually every day. He trained in short, brutal blocks of extreme intensity, followed by deep recovery. They didn't seek balance. They sought extreme focus, followed by extreme release. Section 3. The framework. Living the sprint lifestyle. So how do you apply this to your life? If you want to break through a plateau, stop trying to be consistent with a mediocre routine. Instead, adopt the sprint lifestyle. This framework consists of 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is compression, the sprint. This is where the change begins. The goal here is not balance. The goal is saturation. First, pick one target, one skill, one project, one topic. Do not multitask. Commit to a sprint of 7 to 14 days. During this time, work in sessions of 90 to 120 minutes, and most importantly, embrace the struggle. You want to reach a point of mental friction. If your study session feels easy, you aren't sprinting. You need to push until you feel that neural instability. But remember to stop before total exhaustion. You need energy left for the next phase. Phase 2 is separation, the pause. This is the phase most people skip, yet it is where the cognitive upgrade actually installs itself. Once the sprint session is done, cut the input. No podcasts, no scrolling TikTok, no passive learning. You need to embrace boredom. Go for a walk without headphones. Let your mind wander. This dead time is when your subconscious processes the intense data you just fed it. And sleep is non-negotiable. As Matthew Walker highlights in his book, Why We Sleep, deep REM sleep is when the brain consolidates memory. Without sleep, the sprint is wasted. Phase 3. Integration, the jump. After the cycle of compression and separation, you enter integration. This is the moment the magic happens. You will notice a quantum leap. Recall becomes easier. Skills that were impossibly hard last week suddenly feel automatic. Confidence rises without effort. This isn't magic, it is simply delayed wiring finally completing itself. At this point, you don't need to sprint anymore. You return to a light routine to maintain the new level you have reached until you are ready for the next sprint. Conclusion: timing over discipline. We often blame our lack of progress on a lack of discipline. We beat ourselves up, thinking, if I just tried harder, if I had more willpower every single day, I would be successful. But the science suggests a different conclusion. Your brain doesn't need more discipline, it needs better timing. It needs the pressure to signal the need for adaptation, it needs the pause to allow that adaptation to take place, and it needs the integration to solidify the new baseline. If you only rely on routine, you will maintain your skills for a lifetime, but you may never transcend them. Routine keeps the skill alive, sprints level them up. So if you're feeling stuck today, stop the endless grind. Stop trying to do a little bit every day. Pick a target, sprint towards it with everything you have for 2 weeks, and then, most importantly, have the courage to stop and rest. That is how you grow.